What's up, everybody? Nice Jim here, back with another VGC 2020 Pokemon Sword and Shield competitive video. Today, we're talking about Steelix. This Pokemon is pretty cool. It has solid typing, solid stats, a pretty solid move pool, solid as a rock, as it is a rock. I guess it's more steel because its name is Steelix, but solid as steel. This Pokemon's pretty cool. It has pretty cool stuff that it can do. It's pretty much what I'm saying. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about it. So, Steel ground typing is pretty good. It has 2 immunities, poison and electric. Don't put out a toxicity against this Pokemon. Weaknesses: fire, water, fighting, and ground. 4 weaknesses in general, which is not too bad. All are pretty prevalent in the game. However, only 4 of them, which are pretty cool. Resistances: normal, flying, psychic, bug, rock, dragon, steel, fairy. So many resistances, it's crazy. This Pokemon can be a very solid switch in against so many Pokemon, and with an insane defense stat and not bad other general bulk, and then strapping on an assault vest. This Pokemon can just take a lot of hits, which is really cool, especially if you Dynamax. Then you can take a lot of hits, which is really cool. Yeah, pretty good. Into our stats. So 75 HP is pretty standard, pretty solid. Special defense at 65 is both pretty solid as well, especially with assault vest and some certain investments. You can really tank a lot of attacks, especially as well as defensively. And with a defense stat of 200, we're going to take a lot of defense attacks head on, which is really good, especially after Dynamaxing, making your HP insane as well. And this Pokemon has a lot of great Dynamax moves as well. It has the big 2, the defense and special defense. And by big 2, I mean there's also Max Airstream. Those are the big 3, the 3 best ones. The big 3, shout out to My Hero Academia. But yeah, in general, pretty good. Steel ground is pretty cool. It's a solid typing and great stats to complement it. We also have 85 attack, which is very solid, not insane but pretty solid, and then with sheer force as our ability, making us give us an additional 30% but lose our secondary effect of attacks with secondary effects, things like the rock slide, the iron head, and I think that's it. We also have body press, which plays off of defense, and just you can hit really hard with this Pokemon in general. However, sheer force does not work with max moves, which is unfortunate. We're not going to be able to take away that secondary effect and get an additional 30%. That would be pretty cool, but a double-edged sword. It's cool to get our secondary effects as Dynamax Pokemon, but it's also really cool to get a 30% boost. I don't know which one would be better, honestly. I think it would depend for certain Pokemon. And this is a Pokemon with maybe sheer force would be better, maybe. I'm not sure. So yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about the actual build. That's going to be it for our overview. So as far as the build goes, we are playing ability sheer force. This Pokemon is really good with that ability. It gives us that extra 30% damage on Iron Head and Rock Slide, which is pretty cool. And not an insane ability. You could use Sturdy over it if you wanted to. However, this Pokemon is usually going to be able to take some attacks, so you don't really need Sturdy in my opinion. However, we do feature Sturdy on the single player build, on the single spotlight further on in the video. However, for now, sheer force is the way. Item, we're using Assault Vest. You can use something like Life Orb to deal a little bit more damage guaranteed every time, and maybe Weakness Policy is another idea. I just went with Assault Vest. I just think it's good to constantly take less damage overall from special moves as well as physical attack because of our insane defense stat, and I think it's just pretty good to have really good bulk in general with this Pokemon, especially since you're going to Dynamax it a lot. We're just able to take a lot of attacks pretty easily, which I like. Into our moves, we have Earthquake, Body Press, Iron Head, and Rock Slide. Since we're using Assault Vest, we can't feature anything like Protect or the Iron Defense. However, you can switch that up if you want to. So for our moves here, Earthquake is just a really good, solid physical attacking stab ground move. It's really good. It gives us max quake. Obviously we need some kind of ground attack on this Pokemon since it's steel ground typing, and that's one of the big reasons of it being so good is because it has access to max quake and max steel spike, being able to benefit our defense and special defense of both Pokemon, this and its partner Pokemon, which is really good. Then next we have Body Press. This is just a good move. We have 200 base defense, and Body Press plays off of your defense, so it hits really, really hard is what I'm saying, which is really cool. It also gives us max Knuckle, which can just benefit our attack, our physical attack, which is pretty good. Next we have Iron Head. This is our best physical steel move. You can go with Heavy Slam if you want to. However, we're going to max this Pokemon a lot of the time, and Iron Head plays off a little bit better as far as max moves. It gives us more damage. It also has a secondary effect, which plays better for sheer force if you're not Dynamaxed, which hopefully we'll be able to live a lot of turns when we Dynamax, and they'll probably just not go for the kill on it since it's so like defensive. It's so bulky. It's really hard to kill it when it's Dynamaxed, and yeah, hopefully we'll be able to live through it and then Iron Head and get some really good damage off afterwards. Then last but not least, we have Rock Slide here. It has a secondary effect, so it plays off sheer force as well. It also hits both Pokemon. It gives us access to max Rockfall, which is pretty good. Other than those 4 moves, we do have a good bit of other flex moves that we can use. Heavy Slam I already talked about a little bit. It's pretty much preference. You can also use that over Rock Slide or Body Press if you want to, but I just didn't really care for like 2 Iron moves when I think Iron Head is typically going to be better, but you can really play either way. Then we have Crunch as well, just to have that good bit of dark dark coverage as well. Also plays off of sheer force because it has that chance to flinch, which is really cool. Crunch is good. Did I say flinch? Am I dumb? Wait, hold on. I'm crazy. Am I going crazy? I'm going crazy, dude. 20% chance to lower target's defense by 1. I knew it was a secondary effect, and then I said flinch, and I was like, wait. It doesn't flinch. Yeah, so it does have a secondary effect, though, which does play off of sheer force. Then next we have High Horsepower. This is just another ground-type move you can use. You could also use Stomping Tantrum. Any of those over Earthquake, it's really up to you. It's personal preference. I just like Earthquake because I just want to use Earthquake. I don't know. I really don't have any other... I don't really have any other reasoning. I just wanted to use Earthquake. I think it's good. It also hits like all Pokemon, which is cool. It doesn't count as a secondary effect. That would be so cool if it did, but it doesn't. Next we have Stone Edge. This is just another option for Rock Slide. This is a little bit more damage, but it doesn't have that secondary effect that Rock Slide does. Is that correct? I keep saying things without knowing for a fact if I'm correct. It has a high crit ratio. That is a secondary effect, but I don't think it activates with sheer force. Then next we have Thunder Fang. This is just a good coverage move. It just gives us access to a thunder attack. You know, Pokemon that are like water type and water type are gonna threaten this Pokemon, so it's nice to have like Thunder Fang for coverage if you want to. Other than that, that's gonna be it for our moves. We're gonna go ahead and talk about our investments here. So we went 252 into HP, 100 plus into attack, and 156 into special defense. We wanted to put some into special defense so that Assault Vest could really take an effect. If you just went off of your base, it wouldn't get that much, and then with 156 we had 105, and then Assault Vest gives us that 1.5 times, able to live a lot of good attacks. There are still some things that just kill us still, which is unfortunate. Things like the Solar Power Charizard, which is very powerful. Potentially Torkoal Eruption at max health can also take a huge toll. Maybe Dynamax we can live it. I'm not sure offhand. But we can live things like Dynamaxed Max Flare from a Nasty Plot boosted Rotom X. Rotom H? Rotom X. Rotom Heat. We can take on a lot of good attacks, so I think like maximizing a little bit into our special defense, and I said maximizing a little bit, that's like, what's that, redundant, I guess? I don't know, but yeah, putting 156 into our special defense just helps us live a lot of attacks. 252 into HP just to get max damage off of our max health out of our Dynamax, which is really good. And then we have attack 100 plus, just being able to deal a little bit of damage. We just put the leftovers after the special defense increase into the attack. And we also went with Brave Nature plus attack minus speed, since we want to be fast under Trick Room. That's another option. There's also Gyro Ball you could use as an option, which would benefit off of being as slow as possible, since it deals more damage off of how slow you are compared to the opponent. Next, we have our synergetic Pokemon. So for synergetic Pokemon, we have Dusclops, which is just pretty much just a Trick Room. It's a really good Pokemon. It has Helping Hand, Will-O-Wisp to minimize and maximize our damage, and then minimize their damage output as well, which is good. Nightshade being able to deal pretty constant damage as well. Dusclops just makes a really good partner for this kind of Pokemon, and I just like it. I think it's good in general. Next, we have Rotom Wash, which is a good Pokemon for a few reasons. First off, it can absorb a lot of damage from water attacks, which is good. It kind of threatens that fire and ground presence that kind of destroys Steelix, which is also very good. And it also, of course, provides Levitate, so that any ground type attack, maybe something like Earthquake from our own Steelix or Earthquake from an opposing Pokemon, can just absorb that entirely with its immunity due to Levitate, which is very good as well. And also, Levitate makes it a very good switch-in target for if your opponent's going to max Quake or anything into Steelix. You can just switch out and boom. Or Rotom Wash has access to an ally switch, being able to just switch around and take no damage, which is a very good thing. Next, we have our speed tiers. So for speed tiers, we're pretty slow. We're at 31 here. We're on the same speed tier as Reuniclus and Snorlax, which is not bad. Being 31, it's not great. It's not bad. Actually, it's really great, honestly. Like, there's only a few Pokemon that are really relevant that outspeed us. We have things like Hatterene, Dusclops, Torkoal, Ferrothorn, all that outspeed us after Trick Room is set. Before Trick Room is set, we outspeed all of them, which is very good. Another cool thing you could do with Dusclops, if you choose to use the weakness policy, you can use Dusclops to set Trick Room and activate your weakness policy with Bulldoze. That's always another option, as well as using Bronzong for that. However, Bronzong and Steelix both share that weakness to fire, so a Heat Wave could deal huge detrimental damage to both Pokemon. And very typically, if a Pokemon uses a fire type attack, Heat Wave will be of the choice. A lot of the time we see that very frequently on Charizard, Togekiss even. Like, a lot of Pokemon will run Heat Wave, even Chandelure. A lot of Pokemon will just run Heat Wave, and having that lead would really be detrimental. So it could be really bad. But other than that, a couple of things that to keep in mind. Hatterene is not very scary against our Pokemon. We can kind of just kill it a lot of the time. Dusclops is really good, and then Torkoal, Ferrothorn play off their own roles. You know, like, they're faster than us under Trick Room. Ferrothorn we're not really worried about, but Torkoal can deal a lot of damage, which is very unfortunate. Next, things that outspeed us before Trick Room is set, we have Bronzong, Mudsdale, Gastrodon, and Rhyperior. All four are really good Pokemon, and pretty good in general. All of them can kind of threaten. Bronzong not so much. I mean, obviously it has Bulldoze for that super effective spread, but I mean, that's not a very high damaging attack, so it doesn't really matter too much for us. Gastrodon definitely is scary, and Rhyperior is definitely scary, and so is Mudsdale. All those Pokemon are scary, but once we set Trick Room, we are faster than them and can deal out a lot of super effective damage to all of them except the Gastrodon. So in general, shouldn't be too big of a worry, any of them, honestly. Well, not really the Mudsdale either. But we can deal... Yeah, it's a medium matchup, you know, but all of them are super effective. Or the Gastrodon proves super effective with special attack. All the others are physical attacking, which, like, we don't have to worry about too much because 200 base special defense is pretty mighty. Next, we'll talk about some damage calcs, so I'll move up about halfway through. So, first off, we have Dynamax Max Quake into an Excadrill, a Dynamaxed Excadrill, hitting 63 to 75%. This is a little unfortunate, but even if we max into our attack, we still wouldn't take the OHKO guaranteed, which is pretty unfortunate. So, it's fine that we're just 100 plus. Next, we have Excadrill returning the favor, hitting 37 to 45%, guaranteed living 2 of the max quakes from a max invested, even adamant Excadrill, which is very good that we can just live so easily from those attacks. Obviously, since we're 200 base power of defense, we're pretty healthy, and max invested into HP, we can take these attacks pretty easily head on. However, it's still a bit of a worry to go up against an Excadrill, especially if Trick Room is not set. Next, we have our max Steel Spike into a fairly defensive Togekiss with max HP and 116 plus defense. We hit 69 to 82%, which is pretty good, and even through a Babbery, we guaranteed 2-hit KO, which is very good, and yeah, just in a good position in general. Next, we have Incineroar, Flare Blitz into our Steelix, minimal attack from that Incineroar because most are defensive. Flare Blitz into our pretty defensive Steelix, you know, like about as much as possible. 23 to 28% into our Dynamax Steelix, not even having a guaranteed chance to 4-hit KO. This is really good, actually. Like, we just don't really care about Incineroar. Granted, it will intimidate / parting shot to be able to minimize our damage output and make us not really a threat, especially if we're Dynamaxed. We kind of waste our Dynamax if they put out a couple of intimidates. We just don't hit any damage, which sucks. But I mean, we can get the very solid you know, defense and special defense boosts. but still, you know, just no damage output, which kind of sucks from a Dynamaxed Pokemon. Next we have Dynamax Nasty Plot boosted, 116 plus special attack Rotom H, max flare. That's a lot of things. Dynamax Nasty Plot boosted is what you're going to have to remember. And into our Assault Vest, 252, 156 special defense. Steelix has a 6.3% chance to OHKO. This is a really, really small chance to OHKO. We're pretty much in a really good position against Rotom H, which is pretty cool since, you know, it's a really good Pokemon. It's pretty on the decline right now. It hasn't been seeing much play. A lot of teams that need a generic fire type are going to opt for something like Incineroar, but it's still pretty relevant to know that we live a Nasty Plot boosted Dynamax max flare from a Rotom H, from a fairly invested Rotom H, which is pretty cool. Next we have Life Orb, Solar Power Charizard, max flare into our boy. It shouldn't really come as much of a surprise that it's able to OHKO. This is one of the hardest hitting Pokemon in this entire gen right now, hitting 120 to 142% guaranteed OHKO. Yeah, we're dead to that. Nothing really else to say about that. Next, we have our Single Spotlight. Last but not least, Single Spotlight. And this Pokemon is actually pretty cool in singles. You're able to use the ability Sturdy just so that, you know, like, we don't care too much about the sheer force. We just want to live a little longer. We're using Choice Band, dealing out as much damage with Earthquake, Gyro Ball, Rock Blast, and Body Press as we can. Just dealing out a lot of damage with this Pokemon, and that's pretty cool. Sturdy gives us a guaranteed live. Like, no matter what, we live one attack, and then if they use anything offensive with physical offense, we live those pretty easily as well. Our EVs are pretty easy, just max into attack and then mostly max into HP. The 12 investment into defense is just enough to guaranteed live a Choice Banded Earthquake from an Excadrill. So yeah, pretty cool. That's about all I have for this Pokemon in general. This Pokemon is pretty cool. It's very underrated. It's very underused. And if you want to break from a lot of the more typical Trick Room sweepers, definitely give Steelix a try. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, leave a like and subscribe. If you like Steelix, that guy, it's inverted. If you like that guy, Steelix, leave a like and subscribe. It means so much to me. If you want to see any guys in future, any guides for any Pokemon or any teams in future videos, go ahead and comment those down below just so that I know what to make videos on, what you guys want to see, because ultimately the content is for the people, not just for me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a good next 16 years. That's a long one. Have a good next 16 years. Goodbye.